morning, everybody. Scott with the Insider Stock Buys team. It is 8:30 in a kind of foggy, dreary mid-Atlantic, just north of Baltimore, Maryland. Spring. It's supposed to be warm today. We are kind of in that period where you get a day or two of nice weather and then it's back into the 40s and rain. But we're starting to break through. So we are happy about that after spending a couple weeks in the ice. Excuse my voice. We have a little bit of I guess it's allergies. I don't know. I wanted to um I wanted to introduce myself. I wanted to pop onto the site this morning. I was actually planning on trying to cut a little ad or something and figured it's probably a good time to poke around on the site, show people some of the features, and just say hello. So we are here on the site. We have in the upper right hand corner, you have your dark and light toggle. I don't know if you like to get blasted out with the light or the dark, but we'll probably go dark for today because I'm still waking up a little bit. So you'll notice that we're seeing a lot of changes to the site still because the site is in development and we have a lot of stuff in the works. You'll probably have noticed the ultimate tab in the upper right hand portion. I'm signed in as the admin account, so we can pop on in here and see. Ultimate Insider is going to be our highest level service. This will include the ability to receive these notices the moment they hit our dashboard with some analysis from our research team, letting you know if it's something we think is good or not. The last few weeks, the signals have been on the weaker side, market obviously under pressure, and uh, I think a lot of insiders are probably sitting on their hands right now. But as many of us are, right? A lot of people are uncertain about what's happening in this market and are unsure if it's time to get back into a risk on mode, or well, maybe they're not unsure, maybe they're pretty confident it's not a good time. It's kind of how we stand right now. We want to wait and see the insiders come back in and show us that they're interested, and that's when we'll start to get a little more interested in adding some risk back into our day-to-day investing and trading. But for now, let's just poke around on the site a little bit as I look for a few ideas to make a commercial. First thing you'll notice, we do have our free report on the site now. The free report, if you are signed in with your email address, free membership, you can download the report. And this is just kind of the early first steps of learning about insider buying. A lot of people don't fully get the whole insider buying concept. A lot of people think it's insider trading, which is illegal and frowned upon, obviously. Insider buying is completely different. It's when an executive or somebody with material knowledge inside a business um, wants to buy their own stock, wants to invest in the business. They need to file what's known as a Form 4 with the SEC because they obviously know more than the public does. They sit inside the meetings, they see the books, they know what kind of contracts are coming. Maybe they know that investors large investors like to buy the stock at a certain price. So, it's only fair that we all at least know that they're buying, and then we use that data to our advantage. One of the ways we like to use that personally is if a CFO, let's say, which is the strongest signal out of all the executives, if a CFO is buying at let's say $20 and the price dips to 19, if we can get a better price than the CFO, it already feels like we have an edge, right? Um, we spent years chasing Warren Buffett into Occidental, and that was our number one play. Was anytime Buffett bought, we would sell a credit put spread underneath Buffett's level. And if it dipped far enough, you just take ownership and now you're beating Buffett, right? Beat Buffett for 20 years and then tell me how you've done. So get the report if you haven't grabbed it yet. You were likely emailed a copy as well. So it may already be in your inbox if you want to go take a peek. Alerts at InsiderStockBuys.com. And this will get you started. After the insider buying report, if you still want to learn more, you'll go over to our Learn tab. And this is where we have articles about all kinds of different things. What we were just talking about, getting underneath the executives level. If you are a member, free member, you can learn about reference zones and, you know, the Fernandez zone, who is the executive, the CEO of MSCI, who seems to have a knack for buying the dip on MSCI. Um, that's all under the Learn tab, and we will be adding to this over time. And I will probably add a video section, likely the second this video is done, because we need somewhere for this video to live. So we will probably toss this up here, and then maybe we'll throw one on the front page for everybody to see, maybe right around here. I don't know. While we're on this note, we do have a community tab, and I'd love to hear people's input. We have a forum on the left-hand side where you can add a post, ask questions, and we can all chime in, right? And on the right-hand side, we have a chat. And this is a live chat, and it updates periodically. I just realized this has not been developed much recently, and I do have some development. I was working on another site, so I will be push some emojis and replies and just little stuff to this. We'll do that later today. Good morning, ISB. Okay, so there's your community tab. Pretty basic. Not much in development here coming, but you know, we have new ideas pretty much every day, so you never know what's going to come. All right, back to what we were looking at. First place, there's two levels to this that you can look at. If you're looking at for what's new today, today's buys are usually the best place to go. And if you're just looking for the quick, what has been identified by the research team today as interesting, that'll be in our daily picks. These usually stay up for about 24 hours. This is an error. NASDAQ, SVC. I will have to go and fix this. This is obviously something in our data set, but that's okay. We'll get it. We'll get it taken care of. You'll start noticing occasionally it says insufficient data. This is also something we're working out of the system right now. We really don't want to consider something with insufficient data as interesting. So give me a day or two on that one as well. So here's your today's buys. This is a 24-hour look back of the top buys of the day. You can sort this. What we tend to like to do is to come in and sort by total value. We had a monster buy hit last night, by the way, $1 billion buy of this Saver One, which is a Israeli. I don't remember what I read. It was late last night, but yeah, they do something in Israel. Something, I don't know if it was in healthcare. I feel like it was an app. I don't know. $1 billion buy though, and not to bounce around too much, but if we go over to the analytics page, you can see this $1 billion buy like completely shifted the ratio on the week. We were under the average, the weekly average. This thing just, one buy can throw the whole week up, which can be a little bit deceiving. So you have to be careful when you do look at these buy sell ratios to understand that one buy can throw the ratio. So this $1 billion buy, sizable. I noticed it last night because we had been, depressed under this line. And when it popped up last night, I thought, oh, great. we got a data problem. Because like I didn't notice anything huge yesterday, but sure enough, yeah, that $1 billion buy came in and skewed the whole data set. So this is nice. You can change this up here by filings and by dollars. Um, I'll probably tweak this to default to dollars in the lowest amount. There's just so many little things we're still kind of changing around. And you, I use this site for my own research uh, and trading. And so more so invest. I'm more of an investor than a trader, I'll be honest, but I do trade a little bit. I'm a glutton for punishment. Um, more of a long-term investor though. Uh, but I like to use the site for my own research. And what I've found is as I'm using the site, I'm starting to notice little things I want. And in the moment when I want them, I write them down and then I come back and develop them so I can use it. So we're moving from today's buys. Again, this is for pro members. You got to be a pro member to get the today's buys. Free members, pro membership is not very expensive. It's $9.99 a month. And you get a discount if you pay for a year. So just to note, the pro membership gives you live data at the moment. It gives you the database. It gives you the ISB research team picks. Um, you get a daily insider debrief that kind of lets you know what we thought was interesting that day. So if you're a free member, you get the 20 years of data, but you're a week look back. So it's 1 week of delayed data. Still very, very good data for anybody that's a long-term investor, anybody that's looking to say you stumbled upon an idea or somebody at work was like, hey, you should check out the stock. Well, you come over to InsiderStockBuys.com, pop it in and see what's going on, right? Let's say somebody was like, hey, I've read about this company Audio Eye this week. Well, you can come over, you pop in Audio Eye, and you're like, well, what the heck is this thing, right? Well, the CFO was buying about 2 weeks ago, bought $100,000 worth of stock, and a director came in at the same time and bought $219,000 worth of stock. The stock is up 12% since the CFO bought. And just to let you know, it was up 30% going into yesterday. 30% off the bottom. So um it's a nice site for just coming in and checking to see if there's been any recent activity on something that you heard about. I tend to let all my ideas generate from this site. I don't come here looking for anything. I just come here and find things. Audio Eye is something that I found a couple weeks ago. Had no idea what it was. It popped up in the today's buys, and I went and did a quick Google search and learned that this is a disability AI tool that I guess accessibility would be the word, that there are a lot of websites that are not accessible to people with, hearing disabilities or issues. And those government sites, school sites and local government and all that kind of stuff are all going to be opened up to litigation here soon. So the expectation is lawyers will be using AI to find sites and, you know, uh, send lawsuits out. So this Audio Eye is the only public company that does this. They help get your site prepared for this, and it's coming in the next month or so. And now we have the CFO buying. And if you look back through the history, which you can go over here to the charts and just put back in 5 years or whatnot, 5 year one day. First of all, you can see she's buying along this line of support down here where there's been buys in the past. So that's significant. You can see these buys here notated on the chart down in this $5, $6 range. Look at this ramp right here. And I am going to add something today. I'm going to write something down because it's something I need because I use the site, right? And I'm going to let my developers know I need to be able to measure this move. I need to be able to just go whoop and just measure this move, but instead the chart's moving. So we're going to fix that today. We're going to develop that today. I want to be able to measure from here to here because that's what the stock did. It went from 5 to 35, which in my brain sounds like 700%. We got a CFO buying here. Hmm. I'm not going to say it has 700% potential. Maybe we can just get back to 10. That would be sweet, right? So, Audio I stumbled onto it last 2 weeks ago, ran 30%. Nice move. That's the power of the site. And really, that's how you find the ideas. You see something like Audio Eye, and you just have enough curiosity to go Google it. In my case, I Googled it because I thought it was going to be sonar or LiDAR or something in that realm. I thought it was going to be a self-driving tech Audio Eye, right? And I went and looked it up, and it had to do with AI litigation and accessibility, disability, and I don't know. And I was like, wow, this sounds pretty good, right? And full disclosure, we recommended it in a service, and so far so good, right? You can see right here on the site up 12%. We actually got in, I think, 40 cents lower, so we're doing a little bit better than that. So good news. Also, before we leave the chart here, you'll see these three TXN, 2XN, two TXNs. These are when there are multiple filings for this filing. So James Hawkins, 219,000. This was actually three filings, 11,000 shares, 13,000 shares, 14,000 shares. If you click this, it expands, right? Also on our chart, you have an 8-day and a 20-day. We'll talk about that a little bit in the future. You got a 50 and a 100, and you have the VWAP. And this VWAP is connected to the time frame you've chosen. So 5-year, 1-day VWAP. This is your 1-day VWAP, right? That's your daily VWAP. But if you want to go down to the 1 minute, throw your VWAP on. Okay. So you have these options if you want to see certain price levels and all that. Moving on to the dashboard. This will probably be somewhere where we continue to add just little bits of variability. Right now, you can sort by buys or sells and all. We do not really talk about sells very often because the signal just isn't as important. People are paid in stock all the time, so they're always selling stock. A lot of executives are compensated in stock to, soften the tax hit. And so an executive might be selling stock to send a kid to college. They might be selling stock to buy a new house. We have no idea why they're selling. Uh, it's the buying that we're interested in, right? Because executives buy for one reason, according to Peter Lynch. They think their stock price is going to go higher. And so that's what we're interested in. We're interested in finding the stuff that's going to move higher, even in times where maybe nothing's working. And so with Audio Eye, coming into Friday, Audio Eye was up 30% in a week. That's the same week that the stock market's getting punched in the face. We have this private credit liquidity issue at play, right? You've got this oil and gas Iran situation, but Audio Eye's up 30%. That's the edge. You drown out all the noise that the market makers want you to go. The market makers want you to go chase oil. That's what they want. They want you to go chase oil. Use some, zero dated options, hopefully, so they can get you both ways, maybe. Maybe they get you frustrated and they get you to trade 3 or 4 times. Instead of just coming to the site, coming to the dashboard here, right? And sorting over a time frame. Here's the last 7 days. So, and we can sort by CEO and CFO, either or. I mean, we can just go CFO. CFO is the best signal. It's the best signal there is. So let's just look over the last week. Who are the CFOs buying? You can go to total value, click that. It'll pull the top value up. And look, this is telling you right away that it's been a pretty dreary week. The CFOs are not buying. $100,000, $197,000. It's weird that that one's above that one, right? That looks like a data issue. My eyes. Well, there we go. Well, we'll have to fix that. I think this is probably why, because this is two and they're 98 and 98. So the data is being a little overly precise, right? Move these up. But this is good. We'll find the little stuff together. So go to sector. Let's look. What's been working? Sort of energy. No CFOs buying in energy right now. None. CEOs, three, right? What if we pull it out? Look at everybody. Not a lot of energy buying. I believe financials have been pretty hot. Let's have a look. Yeah, 15 times the buying in the financial sector. What's that sound like? It almost makes you think that these guys feel like there's some kind of support coming. Why do they feel comfortable to buy, but the energy guys don't? Interesting. So, this is where you start. You want to start finding ideas. You come to the 7 days, maybe you go to 30 days, right? Last 30 days, total value. Where are the big buys? Here you go. Saver one, loading up. Vision Wave. 8Co. That's Bitmine. This is the Ethereum treasury play and tokenization. If you're a tokenization guy, there you go. There's some action. Coupang. What else? MGM. We've seen that though. This is the owner of MG, one of the big owners of MGM loading up. What else? What else? What else? That's not the saber that I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, not a lot in here. You got to pay attention. This Cosmos. Okay, so look at this. We'll watch this one right here. $6 million, right? A director, Adebayo Ogunlesi. The reason I can pronounce it is because I did a commercial on it and I had to pronounce it a few times. Uh, let's go to costs real quick. So you can see they're buying down here 220, right? Runs the $3. I need my measuring tool. This is like a 50% move almost, I want to say. Right? In what? 2 weeks? So if you're paying attention, oh yeah, there it is. 53.7. 53.7. Look at this guy, chief accounting officer. Look at the big brain on Ronald Glass. He came in and he scooped up 10,000 shares at $1. He's up 189%. Good for you, Ron. My man. So that's the dashboard. We go out to a 90-day look back here on the dashboard. This is the more active data, the stuff that is really actionable. Sorry, my alarm keeps going off. I keep forgetting to turn it off. So yeah, poke around here. This is where you can find a lot of good ideas. I'm thinking I'm going to use Audio Eye to make a commercial today. I don't know if there's anything else I want to highlight over the last, maybe let's go 2 weeks. Let's look at CEO and CFO and let's sort it by top value. All right, Palo Alto CEO buying. Oh yeah, there's some cluster buying in Sabine Stillwater. Let's talk about that on the commercial today too. So cluster buys, if you go to the signals page, here we have our big buys, our cluster buys, and our first time buyers. Click on your cluster buys. These are identified as companies where we saw three or more insiders buying inside a 30-day window, which we consider a cluster buy, right? And here's Sabine Stillwater. So you have 5 insiders over the last month buying 2.2 million in shares. Sabine Stillwater, a mining gold miner, and I believe they're bigger on the platinum side, maybe platinum, palladium, one of the two. I always mix them up. CFO, Chief Regional Officer, Chief People and Culture Officer, and two directors. So that's a cluster buy. These are good signals. Just poke around here and see who's who and what's what. I-80 Gold Corp, right? Kane Anderson Energy Infrastructure Fund. This is a great fund. KYN. It's a closed end fund. Pays a good distribution, pays a good dividend on pipeline stocks that typically you get a K1 with. I do not believe you get one with KYN because it's a closed end fund. Good to know. How long is this video going? Because I think I have a free Zoom account and I want to make sure that we get through everything. And I feel like we're getting close though. We don't have to be here forever. So that's the dashboard. Poke around, find some stuff. Again, our favorite way to play this, in the case of like we said, audio eye, right? The CFO was buying at $5.90. Well, if we can get back under that CFO's level, that would be ideal. That might be tough given the move, but not really. CEO's right down here. We're up here. So what we like to do is on a pullback, if this is something we really, really were comfortable owning, something we wanted to own, on a pullback, we would consider selling a put spread back down here. Probably, if you could sell the 5 and buy the 4, you'd do it. I don't think you could do all that, but you could probably sell the 6 and buy the 5. And that would get you right around that CFO's price or lower. This is again not maybe the company that we want to do it, but it is a good company because it's only a $5 share. So if you do get assigned the stock on the put spread or you wanted to, you're out of pocket $500. And when you take ownership of those shares, you could then turn around while this thing's starting to go, right? And you could start to sell the calls on the top side. So you get maximum value taking ownership on the downside, and then you turn around and just collect premium all the way up until it gets called away. If you understand what I'm talking about, then you'll see the benefit to that strategy. If you don't understand what we're talking about, we are going to be adding more learn components to this. And to be honest with you, the ultimate will have additional trading strategies built in. We have a lot of back end components that are being built right now that include things like 820 crossover, which is like a momentum signal. So again, if you look at Audio Eye is being a great example for us today. Here's Audio Eye, right? Do you see how this 8-day, the shorter term moving average is now crossing the 20? This is typically a pretty good momentum signal, at least in the short term, to there's that alarm. This is usually a pretty good symbol in the short term that this has a potential to move higher. Algorithms look for this and they'll jump this move if it has the right volume building, right? We've got tools to identify these moves, and they will notice if there's been recent insider buying and we have this set up and we have the volume and we have the right, all the boxes checked. That will fire off a certain trade signal. That'll be under the Ultimate Insider. It hasn't been developed yet, but it's well, let me correct. The back end component is developed and working and is actually in testing. It hasn't been brought to the site yet, but it's looking extremely good right now. We're really liking what we're seeing. So, and here's a good example of a stock that has recently hit that 820 crossover, right? Uh, what we're dubbing the launch pad, and has some recent insider buying, right? Look at this. A director bought $75,000 worth of shares. The president and CEO, 286,000. I think I'm going to add this to my commercials. Here we go. Boom. Little hog. We're going to talk hog and we're going to talk audio eye. Hog. AEYE. Cool. Um, this hit the launch pad and look at it. Bang. Algorithms jump it. Insiders are in on it. And this thing runs from what, 1850 to 21 bucks. Again, when the rest of the market is getting its face punched in, here's what's working. Insiders. And that's why we built the site. That's why we're stressing all of this. And that's why we want as many people to come to the site, join the community, and find the edge they've been looking for. Because this is truly the great, in my opinion, this is the greatest edge in finance. After writing about insiders, researching insiders, and you know, being brought to the light by my mentor, Mr. Garrett Baldwin, of the power of this anomaly. When CEOs and CFOs are buying their stock, you have an edge. Why do it any other way? Why go blind? Right? So, um, we've talked about the dashboard. We've talked about today's buys. Obviously, no buys today. The market's closed. We've talked a little bit about our signals, our cluster buys. You can change the time frame here. We'll be refining some of this and working on it in time. We looked at we didn't do the analytics page much. There's some kind of cool stuff in here. Top tickers. Remember we were talking about that Saver One buy? You can see they're blowing out everything right now. Everything. Top buyers, same deal, right? Vision Wave is the buyer behind that Saver One. Here's Mitsui Sumitomo, who had been on a massive buying spree of WRB and Insurer. Jeffrey Green, I believe, is that CEO of TTD? Huge buy. So this is a nice tab here. Paulson down here at 11. I know what this is. I own this. I followed him in on this. Tower Hill Mines. Very interesting play. This is a gold antimony play up in Alaska. Could be the largest gold mine in North America. And if it's antimony, which is a war metal, this could be a massive play. Big fan. Full disclosure, like I said, I own a pretty good sized position in this. Save Capital, a big buyer. Look, Ace of Gold, big buyer there. So that's cool. Calendar kind of shows you your hot and cold periods. These darker periods, these are going to be your blackouts. When you go into earnings periods, CEOs and CFOs, they can't do any action. So those darker periods, that's usually what that is. Smart money. This is a little matrix action. Show you what's working, what isn't over a period of time and what you should avoid. Pressure map. It's where all the big buys are for the most part. This stuff will be getting, like I said, worked on and refined. So here's your performance tab. This shows you the edge. This is what happens when a C-suite executive buys stock. Over 4,256 buys measured. They have a 2.66% average return across all buys, just to show you, versus random timing, which is just the same stock with random entry dates selected over 11,688 samples. The random average is just under even, right? So we beat that at 2.6, timing edge is 2.68%. Median return 2.4%. That's over 30 days. If you change this tab, you'll see the results change. At 1 year, we go negative. So that's the one thing to keep in mind. This signal is better, shorter, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. As you get out longer, things, the market timing and all that kind of stuff, liquidity events like we're seeing right now. And, these markets seem to have a lot of crisis baked into them. So the edge is really a shorter term edge, but CFO is, you can see right here, performance over 30 days. CFO's average return 4.8% with a 64% win rate versus 2.3% for the CEO at 57.5%. If you go out to 90 days, CFO's edge grows further, 6.8% average return. Quite good. And that at a year, CFO is the only one that holds the edge. CEO actually falls into the red after that period of time. So 2.2% average return there over the year, which does beat the random timing average of 1.9% and the median of negative 5.6%. So it's performance tab. This is updating daily. We'll be adding, we just built a tracking engine that tracks every buy and the performance of those buys over a period of time after the purchase. That will help us. Well, I can show you what it's helping us do right now. First of all, it's helping us. It's what's developing this return here. So it's how it knows the return since the time that this executive bought. Um, but it will be doing more for us as we look for more ways to develop that database into this. So lots of new stuff coming, lots of exciting stuff. So I think that's about it for now. Be on the lookout for Ultimate. I feel like we're maybe a month out from releasing Ultimate, maybe more. I really want it to be perfect. So give us a little time there. And I want to have the additional trading tools built in as well. So that's what's going to take the little bit of extra time. But it is coming. And in the meantime, we will just continue to look for trades. Oh, we didn't do this down here. This is cool. Let's look at EPD. Enterprise Product Partners had AJT bought $100,000 worth of shares on the 20th of this month. You can see the insiders do quite well buying this stock, right? They do quite well. What this tells me as I scroll down this is you'd be doing quite well to buy it with them, right? Like if they're doing this well, uh, this is a stock I need to own. So, just to show you how this insider buy depth looks, it shows you how many of the insiders are currently profitable versus how many are not. So 518 million of this is in the money, basically profitable, versus a bunch that is currently underwater. But that's good because it tells you you're going to get a better price than this gang. And these people, the larger side of this, the 60 whatever percent, believe that this stock has a lot more upside to it, right? Heaviest buy zone at $41. Where's EPD trading today? 30, no, 37.57. So currently at a discount still. So that's it. That's all. Felt pretty long. I don't know how long this video was. Who knows? We'll figure it out. We'll put it on the site. I hope it worked, or else that was pretty dumb. And until the next time, have a great weekend. And see you. Well, I guess I won't see you, but I'll talk to you soon. Sorry, this is my first. I don't make a lot of these videos. This is new, so don't really know how to sign off from the ISB research team. Have a great day.